Y'all are on this app losing the plot. Why did I just wake up from my nap to a DM about somebody being upset with me because I said Cardi B can't speak Spanish? Because she can't.
Hey, Pretty Girl Club. Why is it that you have women who are not a part of the Latina community trying to judge who is the most Latina and who's not? Has anyone ever noticed that? Whenever you are multiracial or multicultural, there's always someone trying to tell you what ethnicity you are and what your identity is. Since when are Black people the kings and queens of everyone else's identity? Isn't it ironic how the main community who does not like to be stereotyped, they are now stereotyping Cardi B, saying she's essentially not a real Latina and she can't speak Spanish because she doesn't fit their stereotype of what it means to be a person who's Hispanic. First of all, every Latin American person is not fluent in Spanish. Cardi B actually is fluent in Spanish, but even if she wasn't, every Hispanic person is not fluent in Spanish, and that is not a requirement. That would be like saying if you don't sound ghetto or if you're not from the hood, then you're not Black. That's no different than the you sound white talking point. What this woman is saying is Cardi B, when she speaks Spanish, she doesn't sound Spanish enough. Not to mention the fact that Spanish is actually a colonizer language. So this woman is defining Cardi B's identity based off of how good she can speak a colonizer language.
And since y'all want to argue about it, let's argue about it. When I looked up the lyrics to the song I Like It, featuring Cardi B, J Balvin, and Bad Bunny, J Balvin and Bad Bunny are speaking Spanish. Cardi B is not. Because her Spanish is not good enough to hang with her own people.
Her Spanish is not good enough to hang with her own people, yet this woman just admitted that Cardi B did a song with J Balvin and Bad Bunny, who are icons in the Hispanic community. So what do you mean she can't fit in with her people? I've seen Cardi B working with tons of people who are Hispanic. Also, since when do you have to work with a whole bunch of people from your community in order to be considered a part of that community? Because last time I checked, Black women were divesting. So are you guys no longer Black now because you're not dating within your community? You're not marrying within your community? You don't want to live in the neighborhoods where a lot of Black people live? I see a lot of people talking shit about HBCUs and pedestalizing PWIs. So if interacting with your community is the only way to be a part of it, then I could make the argument that majority of Black people are not Black either then. So do you see the hypocrisy? It only applies to Cardi B. It doesn't apply to Black people.
And that's exactly why she's not a Latin artist. Because they cannot push her as a Latin artist because her Spanish is not good enough.
That's another laughable talking point because Cardi B's song with J Balvin and Bad Bunny was featured on the Latin charts. Not to mention that Selena Gomez, she doesn't speak Spanish. She is definitely not fluent in Spanish. And she makes music that is supported by the Latin community. Adrienne Bailon is another one who is not fluent in Spanish, yet she has made music that is a part of the Latin community. One of the biggest Hispanic icons, J-Lo. Oh, and by the way, did I mention Selena? Neither of those women are fluent in Spanish at all, yet they were still accepted and celebrated by the Latin American community. And that's how I know that this woman in the video is very monocultural. She doesn't have any Latino friends. She doesn't hang out in Latino communities because anybody who actually does would know that you do not have to be fluent in Spanish in order to be Latino or in order to be accepted. You don't have to be a stereotype. Latinos are not a monolith. So no, everybody didn't just hop the fence or just like cross over the border yesterday. Everybody's not an illegal immigrant who can't speak fucking English or somebody where they only speak Spanish. So she's doing the same thing that racist people do, which is stereotyping you based on your ethnic background. And I've also noticed that women with inferiority complexes, they have a deep-seated fear of rejection. So they love telling multiracial women, oh, your Latin side doesn't accept you. Your white side doesn't accept you. It's like, okay, if the Latin community doesn't accept Cardi B, what does that say about you as a dark-skinned Black woman then? So what does that say about all these women that are trying to divest right now? They're watching Level Up content right now. They're out here buying $200 bust downs so they can attract a Hispanic wealthy man. What does that say about those women then? If the non-Black communities truly don't accept someone like Cardi B, why would they suddenly accept someone who's even darker than Cardi B? Why would they accept someone whose hair is 4C then? So they're doing that talking point where it's like, Cardi B, you're not at the top. You're here at the bottom with me. Get back down here in the Black community where you belong. You don't belong in the Latina community. You're just Black. You're just a regular Black girl, as if being Black is bad. And notice how they view their blackness as something that causes them to be excluded. So that's what she's trying to say about Cardi B. Like basically, her not fitting the stereotype of Latinas, that is a reason for her to be excluded. So on the one hand, it's black people come in all shades, black people come from all countries, black people come from all over the world. The Filipinos are black, the Pacific Islanders are black, the natives are black. Oh, but Cardi B, you're not Latina because Latinas only come in one shade. They only come in one language. So do you see the extreme hypocrisy? Do you see the extreme double standard?
And Spanish people, like y'all know, or Latino people, like y'all know, do not with other Latinos who do not know their own language. And I agree with them because in their community, that's their bare minimum.
And again, that's false. Spanish is a colonizer language. So this is how I know that she doesn't study Latin history at all. So you got a whole bunch of uneducated people with inferiority complexes laying in their beds in a headscarf, trying to pretend like they are experts on other communities.
Their language is their culture and they take it very serious.
Their language is their culture. That's one of the most idiotic talking points I've ever heard. Anybody who is actually Latino knows that it's a mix of, you've got indigenous cultures, there are African cultures, and then there's the European culture that's mixed in. So do you see how much of a Eurocentric mindset this woman has? This is exactly what I talk about. Women with inferiority complexes, they have a whiteness-centered identity. Everything that shapes their opinions is, how do white people see you? You know, how do white people from Spain see you? Oh, you're not the most Spanish-looking person in the world. You don't speak this European colonizer language as good as the white Spanish people. Therefore, you don't fit in. So she doesn't even realize it, but she's actually enforcing white supremacy on Cardi B. She's saying, you're not Spanish enough. You're not European enough. Because remember, Spain, that's a European country. You are not European enough. You're not white enough. You don't speak the European colonizer language enough to fit in with this community.
And that's exactly why she has to be in our spaces. And she can barely speak English.
So now she's being thrown in and out of blackness. So first it's, you don't speak Spanish. Oh, but you also don't speak English. This is a very common phenomenon amongst mixed race people. They'll tell you, oh, you're not white. Shut up. Who do you think you are? You're not white. Oh, but you're also not black either. They're doing that because they want you to feel isolated and rejected, because that's how a lot of women with inferiority complexes feel. Who's the main community on YouTube that talks about not fitting into Hollywood's beauty standard, not fitting into the dating market, not fitting in on dating apps? They don't get enough swipes. They don't fit in at the workplace. They've got microaggressions going on. They feel like they've been stereotyped or brutalized by the police force. Who's the main community that talks about feeling ostracized the most? So do you see the extreme projection? It's that same talking point of, you are how the white man sees you. So however the Spaniards see you, and also she's assuming that everybody of Spanish descent is racist, which is another problem. But she's saying, if you don't pass as white, if you don't pass like you are from a European country, Spain, if you don't pass like you were born and raised in a European country, Spain, then you don't fit in. Oh, but you also don't fit in with blackness either. Oh, and you can't speak English. First of all, who said that English is the only language that a black person can speak? So now you're going back to stereotyping black people. So you're saying, oh, well, she can't even speak English either, as if that's all black people speak.
But because English is not our first language as black people, okay, we accept that bullshit. I'm not about to do this with y'all today. She doesn't know enough of her own language to hang with her own people. And that's why the people who run her and manage her push her into Black American spaces.
So she says Cardi B doesn't know enough of her own language to hang with her own people, even though there are full interviews of Cardi B speaking in Spanish. But then she admits that English is not the first language of black people. So it's like, sis, you don't even know the mother tongue of whatever African community you come from. So again, do you see the extreme hypocrisy? It's a double standard. They're holding mixed women to a standard that they themselves can't even fulfill.
And this is why I talked about the glamour, candles and cauldrons of it all, because y'all been sitting here letting somebody who is not of your culture sit up in your culture and play in your face because they don't have what it takes to hang with their own. I said what I said, and if you that mad about it, go stream her shit.
Meanwhile, she says, oh, if you're mad about it, just stream Cardi B shit. Cardi B is so popular to the point where she actually doesn't even have to do music if she doesn't want to. She hasn't made an album in how many years now? She did like one album, and then she was so popular, not just for her music, but also for other stuff, to the point where she was able to sustain multi-millions of dollars for over a decade at this point. And how many women of this girl's phenotype are doing the same? So, do you see what I mean when I talk about bad social climbing tactics? Because you got women with inferiority complexes. They stereotype Latinos, they're stereotyping white people, they're stereotyping black people. And then instead of focusing on building up their own collective image or supporting artists, they're focusing on tearing down women that they're really jealous of. Because let's be honest, a lot of people are jealous of the popularity that Cardi B has. This goes deeper than just race. Remember, this is never about social justice. It's always about social status. This woman is sitting here making an angry TikTok about Hollywood celebrities. That is not a part of your civil rights. Okay, so this is a social status issue. Also, I find it ironic that she was like, oh, you let Cardi B play in your face. Okay, well, the unambiguous community was just begging Cardi B to start a hair care line a few years ago. Cardi B's hair is longer than most women could ever even dream of, to the point where they were begging her to start a hair care line. They were begging to see her natural hair routine. So which one is it? Is Cardi B playing in their face, or is Cardi B being put on a pedestal? But what do you ladies think? Let me know in the comment section, and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.